What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Debate Mates. I am Matthew Swanenberg, and I'm joined here today by the OG debate mate, Nathan Poplin.
What's good, guys?
And after a very long break, we are finally back to talk some NBA basketball. Playoffs in full swing. I just couldn't come back after the Kevin Durant shot. Too much shame. I didn't want to talk about it.
Much fun. Understandable, Kevin Durant.
This is my first time leaving my room since the shot happened.
Yes, it's been a rough time here down at Debate Mate Central.
It's been a very rough time ever since KD came an inch short of making it to the NBA championship, and let's be real, winning the title. If that toes a little bit back on that shot to send it to OT in Game 7 of the conference semis. But nonetheless, we got Bucks and Suns in the NBA Finals. Suns got a 2-0 lead. Before we get into all of that, though, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to comment. Make sure to tell your friends, your family, anybody that's interested in basketball that wants to hear some basketball talk, loves basketball debate.
Yes, from two basketball geniuses. Why don't you go ahead and subscribe? Promise you won't regret it.
Right, and it's free to subscribe. If you don't like it, just don't subscribe, or you don't.
You can unsubscribe anytime you want.
Right, but I don't recommend you doing that. Follow us on Instagram at the Debate Mates. Now that the off season is quickly approaching, we'll be doing a lot of fun stuff. I know we have a planned video to discuss the top 25 players in the NBA, something we did last year right before the bubble stretch, and I did. And I've been working on a video for a while now, but it took a lot of research to put together. I'll tell Nathan what it is off camera, but for you guys, you got to wait a little bit longer to see what it is. Without further ado, though, let's get into the NBA Finals.
Yes.
Suns up 2-0, series going back to Milwaukee, the Deer District. Nathan, what have been your observations from these first two games?
That the Suns are the best team in the NBA. I think it might have been the second seed, but I think, honestly, this team is just too deep. I think it was deeper than any of us anticipated. I didn't expect people like Cameron. I didn't expect Cameron Payne to step up in the way he did. Even Ayton, I had going into this, like, he would be playing he played Jokic, and he played some pretty good centers, and I didn't expect him to step up and be a focal point of this offense the way he did outside, that nice third option away from CP3 and D-Book. But he's been really nice for them, and I think this has also been the most consistent team in the playoffs. They just looked like a put-together team. And as for Milwaukee sometimes just doesn't look like they know what they're doing. Budenholzer still lets Giannis run point guard at this point. He lets him dribble at the top of the key. And I know he's your best player, but obviously something's not working. I mean, you lost the first game by 13. You lost this last game by 10. Double-digit points in both games. That's not good. Chris Middleton is not stepping up in the way that he should. Drew Holiday, he's going to be fine. Giannis is playing spectacular, but obviously something's not working. He's not getting it done. They got him the help that he wanted, and they actually made the finals. I don't think many of us thought they were going to get past Kevin Durant's Nets. I'm sorry. But they did, and they just look like they don't know really what to do against Phoenix.
Let me correct you. They didn't get past Kevin Durant's Nets. They got past Kevin Durant. The rest of the Nets didn't show up. I could have made about as many threes as Joe Harris in that series.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
He was pretty bad.
Yeah. For what he was advertised as, this goated three-point shooter.
Which he was for the whole season, and against Boston.
But in the big moment, he shrunk, and that's a problem with players big time. He's not a big-time star or anything, but he could have been if he came through in these playoffs. But once again, it was a letdown.
Could have really made a name for himself there. So we got Game 3 tonight. We'll get into our predictions a little bit later. But what I've noticed, you went on the Phoenix side, I'll go on the Milwaukee side, and this kind of gets into my keys for Game 3, is I understand Giannis is coming off of the injury, but kind of a thing that's been known with Mike Budenholzer and the Bucks, especially with Giannis Antetokounmpo as Pearl Barks in the background, is Giannis doesn't always play heavy minutes. In fact, he never plays heavy minutes. And looking at the stats I have in front of me, minutes per game, he's playing the 6th most minutes in the NBA Finals, and he is the best player on the court between both teams. Top 5 player in the NBA, debatably, 2-time MVP, obviously. The resume is insane. And
yeah, there's no excuse why he shouldn't be playing 40 to 42 minutes, maybe even 44, or heck, LeBron played 46. You know what I mean?
KD played 48.
Yeah, 48, 46, like that. Definitely in the 40s range. So
he's playing less minutes than Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Middleton, and Drew Holiday. And he needs to play, if the Bucks want to have a chance to come back in the series, I think he needs to play at least 42 minutes per game.
So my question to you, though, is does that say something about how this team views Giannis in a way? Because do you think there's something that we don't know that Budenholzer, because if he's obviously the best player in the series and the best player on your team, and you're not playing him 40 minutes, but you're playing some of your other, or you're not playing him the most amount of minutes on the team, and he's the best player, do you think that says anything about how they view Giannis?
I just think Budenholzer is soft, and he wants to cater to his superstar. He doesn't want Giannis to get hurt. And I think Giannis has kind of given in to Budenholzer. If he's tired, we saw it last year in the bubble against the Heat, he would call to come out of games when he got a little tired.
Mm-hmm.
I just think maybe he's not worked incredibly hard at practice by Budenholzer. Maybe there's not an expectation that he needs to play 40-plus minutes a game because he doesn't in the regular season.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the postseason, you can't just put those minutes on his legs and expect him to produce. But I think they have to at this point, down 2-0.
Yeah.
Middleton and Holiday not producing whatsoever. One of my favorite basketball analogies by one of my favorite podcasts, or my favorite basketball podcast, No Dunks, is Chris Middleton. A lot of players like a roller coaster. Chris Middleton is a Ferris wheel. Because when he is high, when you're on the top of the Ferris wheel, you can see the city, you see the bright lights, you see the water. It's amazing, it's awesome, it's the best feeling in the world. And then you're at the bottom, and it's bad. It's pretty rough. And that's what Chris Middleton is. When he's at the top of his game, shades of Kevin Durant, if I'm being honest. Last year in the bubble, Giannis Antetokounmpo wasn't playing in game 4. Mm-hmm. Middleton took over in that game. Hawks series, no Giannis, took over. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's like in that Kevin Durant category.
So you're saying he's as inconsistent as a Ferris wheel?
Yeah,
when it comes to entertainment and excitement and play.
When he's at the top, he's amazing. When he's at the bottom, he's bad. It's not like a roller coaster where you're a little in between. He'll give you 17 points, and you're like, okay, that's fine.
And I guess
it's bad or it's good.
Would you say for these first two games, game 1 and game 2, we're at the top, or
we are at the bottom? Very bottom of the Ferris wheel. And that gives me hope that game 3, I think we see 25 to 28 points, Middleton, maybe even 30 plus. But the way he's able to get to his spots when he's at his best, shoot over anybody, he gets hot in a hurry. Shades of Kevin Durant, honestly. And you know I love Kevin Durant. I think he's the best player in the NBA and is amazingly efficient on offense. So for me to say that about Chris Middleton obviously shows that I think very highly of him when he's at his best.
Yeah.
Can give you a 50, 40, 90, 32 points, no sweat. It's just not always there, which is the reason he's not always an all-star. Wasn't an all-star this year. So he has to produce. I think we see a big game from him tonight, game 3. And then the other thing I'm noticing with Giannis, talking about how he doesn't play a whole lot of minutes, he also doesn't take a whole lot of shots, or at least not as many as Middleton, who was shooting 41%, or Drew Holiday, who was shooting 31%. Giannis, on the other hand, is shooting 64% and only taking 17 shots a game, less than Holiday, less than Middleton. I can maybe understand why Middleton gets a couple more because he is the more versatile offensive player.
But Giannis is definitely being a little too passive.
Yeah.
With numbers like this, he should be trying to take most of the shots. He is the superstar on this team. So. And
3.5 3-point attempts per game for Giannis is too high in my opinion. Charles Barkley says it all the time. You're bigger than everybody. You're stronger than everybody. Get to the paint and punish them inside. Ayton got a couple more fouls in game 2.
Yeah.
Get him a couple more fouls in game 3. So the Bucks have a lot of things they need to do better. I'll have one more thing, then I'll give it back to you. Defensive schemes. Budenholzer, not the greatest head coach. I want to see Brook Lopez get more minutes. He's playing less minutes than Patrick Connaughton. He's playing less minutes than PJ Tucker. Brook Lopez needs to be. I think he's been the second most consistent Milwaukee Buck this postseason, especially on offense.
I mean, if you have Splash Mountain,
right?
Why not utilize Splash Mountain?
Yeah, he's a mismatch for Phoenix. Ayton is not always the best at stepping out to the 3-point line. Great perimeter defender, though. Great paint defender. Mm-hmm. And he's just a good player. He's more consistent than Connaughton. He's more consistent than PJ, Brent Forbes, especially Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is when he is on an island on defense, Chris Paul goes by him every single time. Same with Devin Booker. I actually think Brook Lopez does a solid job of moving his feet off of the pick and roll.
Yeah, he may be getting older, but he's still very consistent when he is on the floor. And he's a nice piece you definitely want to have on your team. So use him, Milwaukee.
And I think the biggest drawback for Milwaukee on playing Brook Lopez is his defense because they attack him in the pick and roll. Mm-hmm. I say if they want to bring Brook Lopez into the action, they have to bring Jay Crowder into the action. I think you put Brook Lopez on Jay Crowder, you make Jay Crowder beat you. Put Giannis on DeAndre Ayton. Even if they want to go to Ayton in the post, Giannis is big enough, strong enough, long enough to defend him.
Yeah.
And then if they want to bring Ayton into the action, Chris Paul is being guarded by a Defensive Player of the Year. Devin Booker is being guarded by a Defensive Player of the Year. Pick and roll with Jay Crowder sounds a lot less menacing than pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton. So I think they got to fix that as well.
Yeah, it's just what I'm looking for tonight is this. This is how I'm gonna know. I want to see intensity and urgency. That's something that I don't think we've seen from the Milwaukee Bucks so far. They're just kind of if your superstar like Giannis, like you said, is very passive, then your whole team is gonna be passive. There's no urgency. This is the NBA Finals. This is the closest you've gotten, and I don't even know how long. I don't remember the last time they were even in the NBA Finals. It's been a long time. So they need to come up with the intensity.
1974, I think.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. So like you've gotten all this way. You took out the Nets, which no one thought you could take out, and the Suns are a fantastic team. They're gonna bring it every night, intensity, urgency. They're gonna play their hearts out into the last minutes. I need to see that from Milwaukee, and if I don't see that tonight, as far as I'm concerned, the Suns will win this third game, and the Bucks will probably lose in 4, maybe 5. So,
and then on the Milwaukee side again is Chris Middleton. You know the series is bad when Middleton would not even be the 4th best player on Phoenix. Miles Bridges, or
Mikal Bridges, one of my favorite players. Mikal Bridges
has been
stepped
outstanding,
up.
shooting 46, 39 splits, 21 points per game.
Yeah.
Great 3-and-D player. Ayton has been better than Middleton. He's been super efficient, almost had a 20-20 game in Game 1. CP3 and Book do their thing. Middleton has been... He needs to be... They obviously have They have the best player in the series, and Giannis. Phoenix is going to have the 2nd and 3rd best player. I think that's a given in CP3 and Devin Booker. There is nothing you could really do about that coming into the series.
Yeah.
However, Middleton should definitely be the 4th best player, and Holiday should definitely be the 5th best player. Then if you want to give a couple players, Ayton, Bridges, Cam Johnson's been playing well to Phoenix, then those back 10 players, they kind of even each other out a little bit.
The Phoenix Suns are just a nice young core. Everyone
Yeah.
plays pretty nice, pretty consistently. Great coaching from Monty Williams. As far as I'm concerned, Monty Williams has already overtaken Mike Budenholzer. Mike Budenholzer had a lot of holes in his game. We saw similar things in Atlanta. It just wasn't as good a team as this. He didn't have a superstar like he does right now, and yet he might go home in the finals. His team might go home in the finals in 4 or 5 games. That's kind of ridiculous, man. I'm starting to lose faith in Budenholzer as this team's X Factor coach. I don't know how about you feel about it.
Milwaukee is suffering from success because they made it to the finals, but now Mike Budenholzer probably won't get fired. He's not the coach from Milwaukee. He's not a very good coach, I don't think. He has the same scheme with every team, which is shoot a lot of threes, play good defense, and it works for a certain amount of time, and then it doesn't.
It works until, apparently, big moments.
It works until it doesn't. That's basically the best way to sum it up.
So,
It just works, and then it doesn't.
So, yeah, you're right. He probably won't get fired, but if I'm Milwaukee, in the back of my mind, they got to know maybe we need to start looking for somebody else. Unless Budenholzer somehow gets him a ring next year, which I don't. Or this year, which I don't think happens.
And going back to Milwaukee's defense, so I already said I think Lopez has to guard Crowder. I said I think Antetokounmpo has to guard DeAndre Ayton. I really, really want to see PJ Tucker on Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton has been guarding Devin Booker a lot, and then obviously that's going to take energy out of his legs on offense. And watching the Clippers series, Pat Beverly got really into Booker's jersey, got into his head. He really made Booker uncomfortable out there, and it was clear, maybe partially because of the mask, but he only wore a mask because Patrick Beverly kind of elbowed him in the face.
Patrick Beverly's like a fly. He has Tony Allen energy. He's all on you for the entire game. As long as he's on you, you're not getting any easy buckets. He's going to be all up in your grill.
And we saw, obviously, Kevin Durant made a fool out of PJ Tucker in the semifinals, but he at least showed the ability to get under Kevin Durant's skin. Because Kevin Durant, a lot of players thought he was getting fouled. Fouls weren't called.
He did a better job guarding Kevin Durant than most players do. At least, especially for his size. It's about a 5-6 inch difference to 6'5" PJ
and
Tucker.
If he can do that to Kevin Durant, you have to put him on.
He can do it to D-Book.
You have to at least try it. I think he can get under Book's skin a little bit. It's one of the only ways they have left. Because Middleton, I don't want him on him. Holiday has to be on CP3 for the quickness and the length. So I think Tucker has to get a shot on Devin Booker. And then offensively, he'll give you what he can. Whatever he gives you is found money. And speaking of found money, if the second leading scorer on the Milwaukee Bucks is Pat Connaughton, That is also a very bad sign.
Yeah.
And he was the second leading scorer in
When you
game
have
2.
Drew Holiday, Brooke Lopez, and Chris Middleton, and then Pat Connaughton your second leading scorer, you've got to make it a problem.
Yeah.
Like,
3 or 4 threes from Pat Connaughton.
not to knock Pat Connaughton.
Extra.
I don't want to knock Pat Connaughton, but it's just like I think even he knows he's not on the same caliber as Middleton and
No.
Drew Holiday. He's a good role player, but yeah, if he's scoring the second most points, that is indeed an issue. We're putting together better defensive schemes than the actual Milwaukee Bucks.
That's not surprising. I don't think anyone would say Milwaukee's got the best head coach in the world.
No, they really don't.
And then Phoenix is just like, they are the perfect just team. Like, if you were making a team, if you were doing an NBA 2K draft, and you were just picking your team, you know, every team gets kind of even. You go for your 2 superstars.
You
in the
just
first
pick
rounds,
the entire Phoenix Suns
and then
roster.
you just get all the 3-and-D guys, a big man to hold it in the paint, and that's exactly what Phoenix
I mean,
did.
you got a nice young core, and then CP3, the best, in my opinion, veteran leadership in the NBA, as we've seen, led the Thunder to the the playoffs last year. Now Phoenix to the potentially he's going to win his first championship. So yeah, it's this young core. It's got nice veteran pieces. Him and Jay Crowder in their interspersed. Crowder. Sorry, but yeah, Jay Crowder. So and Jay Crowder also seems to be an X factor, man. If you have Jay Crowder on your team, you're making the finals.
Yeah, apparently so. So, Nate, I got to ask, what's your prediction for Game 3 tonight and then the series going forward?
As far as I'm concerned, I do think we do see a little bit intensity and urgency, but I still have Phoenix winning, but I don't see it being a 10-point deficit. I'm thinking maybe a 3 to 5 point deficit, but I still have Phoenix winning it all. Maybe I would not be. I'm going to have them in 5, winning in 5. I would not be surprised if they won in 4, from what I've seen. But I think they definitely take the game tonight, or maybe I could be wrong. Hopefully, Milwaukee makes it a competitive series. But if they take Game 3 tonight, I think it's virtually over in 4 or 5. I don't see. I mean, this is the time for the Bucks to put up or shut up. But I just don't think they do it from what I've seen so far.
I have a little bit of a different take. I think Milwaukee definitely wins Game 3. I think Middleton's going to play well. I think we're going to see what we saw from Giannis in the last game, which, by the way, if the Milwaukee Bucks win that game, we're probably talking about Giannis's 42-14 performance as, like, one of the greatest NBA Finals performances of all time. He had 20 points in a quarter, which hadn't happened since Isaiah Thomas in the 1990s. So, yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So I think we see a big performance from him. At this point, I've lost all faith in Drew Holiday. Whatever he gives, he can give. Middleton has to put up 30. I think he will. I think Lopez plays a little bit better. But then again, am I putting a little bit too much faith in old Buddy Ball? Am I putting a little bit too much faith that he's going to figure it out going into Game 3?
Maybe they just need to put their faith in Pat Connaughton. Maybe Pat Connaughton is the savior.
I think Milwaukee crowd behind them. Milwaukee has one of the best crowds in the NBA.
Yes.
I think they energize the Bucks. I think they energize Middleton. I think they energize the team. I think Milwaukee wins Game 3. Then I think it'll be a 6-game series.
I hope you're right. I hope it's a much more competitive series, but at the same time, it's going to be such. I want CP3 to win a ring so bad.
But if it does go 6, would Milwaukee have a chance to make it go 7 playing on their home court? Is this a 6, like, if they don't win in 5, is Phoenix's only chance to win in 7, do you think? Or do you think they can take Milwaukee out?
I think they can. I don't think it matters road or home. I think Phoenix could take it in 6. Yeah, I really do.
Well, I guess they beat the Lakers in 6, which would have been in LA. Beat the Clippers in 6.
See, like you said, this team is so perfectly crafted that, and they seem to do really well on the road.
Beat Denver in 4 in Denver.
Yeah, and so on the road. So I don't think it's one of those rare teams where it doesn't. Of course, I'm assuming statistically they play a little bit, maybe a lot better on their home floor, but they're pretty good on somebody else's court.
Right.
So I think it doesn't matter. If they don't win in 5, I think they win in 6, or they could go to 7. But I think Phoenix has a good shot to win no matter which court they're playing on, home or away. I really do. I think they're too good.
So I think Phoenix wins in 6. I think Milwaukee has a chance to tie it here at home, make it a 2-2 series. But then I think Phoenix is just too good, too balanced, and Middleton's a Ferris wheel. Holiday is there a trash can,
dumpster fire.
Yeah. So I think Phoenix is going to win the championship, and then if they do win the championship, who is the Finals MVP?
Chris Paul. Easily Chris Paul.
From a narrative standpoint or a stat standpoint? Like, let's say Booker outplays him.
Well, let's see what he's averaging. D-Book is averaging what, according to your thing? He's averaging...
According to my thing, he questioning my stats.
He's averaging 29. CP3 is only averaging 1.5 less points than him. I think narratively and statistically, CP3 gets this.
But if Booker outplays him and Phoenix still wins, do you think CP3 gets a couple extra narrative votes?
I think so, yeah.
So really, no matter what happens,
I think it's going to be CP3. I would hope it's CP3, but could it be Booker? It could absolutely be Booker, but if Phoenix wins this, I think we are all hoping it's CP3.
Right.
I think it will be CP3.
And now I have two more talking points I want to get to, and
Okay.
then whatever you want to say, you can say. But a lot of NBA fans have been saying that, we had the classic argument a couple years ago, which is it's the same teams every year.
Mm-hmm.
And now we get different teams, and those same fans are upset that it's different teams. It's small market Phoenix and Milwaukee. Do you, as an NBA fan who's kind of neutral aside from Boston, see this as a win that we got Milwaukee versus Phoenix, two just good teams, or do you see this as a loss for the NBA because we don't have KD versus LeBron or New York or Golden State?
It's absolutely a win. Look, I think it's absolutely a win. I'm an NBA fan that loves to see new teams. Like if in a 5-year span we had 10 different teams in the finals, I'd be very okay with that. I think it makes it more exciting that you don't see like, sure, I recognize the greatness of teams like if the Lakers go back-to-back, the Warriors went like 3, you know what I mean? I understand the greatness, but after a while, it does get tiring. It's very similar to my New England Patriots. Some people would get mad they were there every single year. You want to see somebody different. I think NBA, you definitely want to see some different people. I don't know how you feel about this, but I think it's an absolute win. It would have been crazy if it was Atlanta Phoenix.
I wish it would have.
That would have been insane, and I would have been all for it. I think this finals is still very good. I'm excited to just see Phoenix in it at all. So I definitely think that new teams every year definitely is a win and definitely helps boost NBA fans. Like it's nice to see different teams in there.
I agree with you, but it would be nice to see a Kevin Durant in there, like as biased Kevin Durant.
I mean, I get it. Yeah, maybe there's always next year.
Right. But I think this is a good series. This is just two really, really good teams. I mean, the 2 seed versus the 3 seed. That's great for basketball, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Phoenix fans and Milwaukee's fans, or Phoenix residents and Milwaukee residents, are watching this series a lot more than they would any other series. Probably.
Yeah, two pretty good fan bases too.
Yeah.
I got no quarrels with either of their fan bases. They're pretty good.
And introducing the world to, Devin Booker's now on the full stage.
Yeah.
Giannis has kind of always been.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday is getting exposed for the faker that he really is. But I think it is good for the NBA to see these new teams in, and I don't know if this is a trend that's going to continue, though. I think super teams are on the horizon.
Yeah, it's very possible. I don't know. Yeah, it's just refreshing to see somebody different than, like, the Lakers.
And then my second question, a bit more of a controversial one. In the 2018 draft now, I guess, 2018, I think, the Phoenix Suns took DeAndre Ayton with the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
A couple picks later, Atlanta Hawks selected Luka Doncic, traded him to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
In retrospect, Phoenix is in the NBA Finals, 2 games away from winning. Dallas has gotten knocked out twice in the first round. Did Phoenix make the correct pick?
I think they did. I think at least for their scheme, looking back on it and now what it's become and what he does for them, everybody, sure, you could say, like, if you're redrafting based on so if we redrafted this and it was based on best player, no crap, DeAndre Ayton's not going first. Luka and Trae Young are going over DeAndre Ayton. But for Phoenix, I think they made the right pick in going to get a very versatile big man. So I think that's pretty much it. I think for their system, for their team, it worked out very well. If they had drafted Luka or Trae Young, I don't know where they'd be right now. I don't know if either of them would have evolved into the players they are, Luka or Trae Young. I think they both ended up going to the correct teams, you know what I mean, and Dallas and Atlanta and their future cornerstones. They're going to be cornerstones for a long time. I do honestly think that Phoenix, as of right now, made the correct choice with their number 1 overall pick. How about you?
I can't disagree with any of that. I think we all know Luka's going to probably be the best player from this draft class. He
100%,
is right now. And, well, Phoenix is in the championship, and Phoenix could already have an NBA championship after 3 years of DeAndre Ayton. And I think it's drawing a lot of comparisons to the 1984 draft, first pick, Hakeem Olajuwon, or 84, 83, I think it's 84. Similar to DeAndre Ayton going first, big men who were great for their team, led their team to championships, or in DeAndre Ayton's case, not leading their team, but big pieces on championship teams. Second pick, bit of a bust. Third pick, Michael Jordan, Luka Doncic. You see some similarities there, where
I guess a little bit.
Maybe Houston could have had Michael Jordan. They could have won 5 championships, but they certainly aren't kicking themselves because they drafted Hakeem Olajuwon instead.
I got 2 rings, so they're not. It is what it is. Yeah, it's one of those what ifs, and it's like it worked out so nicely in that draft and this draft that I really don't think it matters anymore. It doesn't matter to Phoenix.
Yeah,
Phoenix is sitting at a good shot to get their first championship. So yeah, it definitely doesn't matter. I don't think they'd go back. I don't think Phoenix would go back and pick Luka Doncic. I really don't.
Yeah, and those draft what ifs, I never really see any real merit to any of them because with a young player like that, you never know how they develop under different coaching. Like talent is talent, no matter where you play.
Yeah.
But talent can be.
And you can't always map out. It's not a complete science. You can't always map out whose game will transition effortlessly or improve in the NBA versus how it was in college. Like so many people, think about all the busts that were supposed to be mega superstars in the NBA and were just total busts. You know what I mean? So you can never map that out. You just gotta kind of roll. It's a roll of the dice, and you gotta kind of hope that they develop properly and make a good fit on this team and in the NBA.
Right. So do you have any other points you want to talk about?
No, I think this is good. I'm excited for Game 3 though. I'm excited to see who wins this year. It's been a great year of basketball, returning from the whole bubble and playoff wise. So I think it's very exciting, and I'm very pleased with this year's NBA season.
All right, so we got one last thing, a little special thing for you,
Ooh,
and
okay.
then it'll be it. All right, everybody. So here's our special last thing. We actually have an NBA insider here with us to give us a scoop on what Kawhi Leonard is going to do in this free agency. Pearl, what do you have to tell the people? Wow.
You know, that's a good point. I never thought of it like that.
Wow. What a scoop there. We're going to give you guys some time to process this. We need some time to process this again. And we'll see you next time on The Debate Mates.
See you guys.
Thank you, Pearl.